Battle through the heavens, Grand World. Chapter 90 Various actions. As they got closer and closer to the border of forest domain, the cities along the way became more and more prosperous. Similar to the 4 cities that Xiao Yan was currently in, although their names were unknown, the number of people in the city was also very large. Compared to the Falling Rock City, the city was much more prosperous. After resting in 4 Direction City for a night, Xiao Yan did not delay at all, and immediately set off for Wuning City, where the teleportation point to Linzhou Palace was located. After figuring out the possible small movements of the Lei clan, Xiao Yan vaguely felt a kind of oppression as if a storm was coming. 3 days after Xiao Yan left Sifang City, the 3 emperor experts of Deyang County were led by a tall middle-aged man to Sifang City. "What's going on? Why hasn't Suo Quan arrived yet?" the middle-aged man asked anxiously. His heart was full of suffering and regret. If he knew this earlier, he wouldn't have given up those formation materials. Although those things were worth a lot of money, they were far from being comparable to the Saint-grade monarch skill. However, he was so obsessed that he actually ordered those things to be taken back. Otherwise, he would have already started cultivating with the Saint-grade monarch skill. After waiting for half a day in Xiaohua City, the middle-aged man couldn't wait any longer. He rushed all the way to Sifang City. Could it be that something has happened? When he thought of this, Wanming felt a burst of irritation in his heart. He violently smashed his fist onto the luxurious table in front of him. The table shattered with a loud bang. "Sir, according to the information we received, the West Star City's city lord, Wu Zishan, has been away for a few days. Is this related to this matter?" At this moment, a subordinate of an emperor walked in and said respectfully to Wanming. "Wu Zishan." When Wanming heard this, the veins on his forehead immediately popped up. After thinking for a while, he said in a deep voice, "Follow me to West Star City." As he spoke, he had already broken out of the door. The 3 Emperor Realm experts under him did not dare to show any neglect and hurriedly followed him out. Linxing City. As one of the most prosperous cities in the forest domain, the Linxing City was famous not only because of its prosperity, but also because it was the home of the Lei clan, one of the major families in the forest domain. The Linxing City was extremely vast, comparable to an ordinary county. At the east side of the Linxing City, the Lei clan mansion, which took up nearly 1/10 of the Linxing City, was built here. Within the secret chamber of the Lei clan, a few big shots from the Lei clan looked at the unconscious young man on the stone platform. Their eyes were fiery hot. One of the old men with white hair and beard looked at the old lady, who was wearing a black robe, and said, "Elder He Mo, thank you for your help." The old woman nodded and said with a smile, "Great elder, don't worry. This matter is a small matter. It concerns the advancement of the patriarch. It's a big matter. It concerns the prosperity of the Lei clan. I will do my best." After saying that, she walked to the side of the stone platform and extended her skinny right hand. A black origin monarch key suddenly appeared on her right hand. In the blink of an eye, the old woman's right hand had become extremely illusory. Placing it on the head of the unconscious young man, the old woman lightly shouted. The black origin monarch key in her hand crazily poured into the young man's head. Woo! The face of the unconscious young man twisted in pain. Even though he was unconscious, he still let out a low roar of pain. However, after a moment, the young man's face turned extremely pale, and there was no trace of blood on his face. After the time it took for half an incense stick to burn, the old woman finally stopped. In her illusory hand, there was a faintly discernible soul. Haha, Elder He Mo's soul-stealing technique is truly unparalleled. That's right. Not to mention that this brat is only a sovereign master, even an emperor cultivation expert wouldn't be able to withstand Elder He Mo's attack. When they saw the illusory soul in the old woman's hand, everyone who had witnessed the former many times was overjoyed and praised her. The old woman gently smiled and said, "Elders, you are being too serious. What is there to boast about such a small technique?" As she spoke, the old woman softly chanted a few incantations and threw the soul body in her hand upwards. In an instant, the soul body turned into a large screen and quickly displayed what Lei Te had experienced. Everyone stared at the soul screen. When they saw Lei Te's dissolute behavior, the old woman lightly laughed. With a twist of her fingers, the screen quickly flashed. Very quickly, the scene of Lei Te and Xiao Yan fighting appeared on the screen. When he saw that the young man who was fighting Lei Te was able to easily block the lightning accumulating pearl, the Lei clan's great elder's brows twitched. He recalled the words that Lei Dun had sent to him. He mumbled to himself, could it be this little guy? When Qin Wei and Rek were confronting each other in the sea of clouds, a golden flame emerged in front of the young man. Everyone exclaimed in shock. That should be right, it's the 3000 lightning monarch flame. Everyone stared fixedly at the golden flame. That was the 3000 lightning monarch flame that the Lei clan had been searching for decades. That's right, it must be. The great elder regained his senses and took a deep breath. After carefully looking at the young man who had 3000 lightning monarch flames, a trace of killing intent flashed across his eyes. He said in a cold voice, I'll have to trouble everyone to take down this young man's appearance and distribute it to all the clansmen in the clan. Elders and guest chamberlains, from today onwards. He thoroughly investigated the Linxing city and the surrounding 100 miles. Send powerful warriors to the transportation array. Anyone who teleports must be strictly inspected. Yes. Everyone replied when they heard this. Wu Ning Cheng. After a few days of traveling, Xiaoyan finally arrived at the most important city of Wuning Prefecture. During these few days of traveling, Xiaoyan also tried to cultivate the heavenly monarch fire-burning body. Unfortunately, his own strength was too weak. After conversing with the Xiaoyi, Xiaoyan had a disappointed discovery. This was because he had used the monarch flame. If it was an ordinary beast fire, it wouldn't even be able to display 1/100th of its power. However, this is also unexpected. Just 1/10 of its power has already allowed me to increase my strength from 6 monarch spirit to around 4 monarch spirit. I can probably fight a peak of monarch spirit warrior head-on. Xiaoyan carefully felt the surging energy in his body after his cultivation. Comparing them in his heart, he thought, if I can fully use the heavenly monarch fire-burning body, I might be able to fight a powerful warrior like Wu Zishan with my current strength. After staying in Wuning City for a few days, Xiaoyan spent most of his time practicing the heavenly monarch fire-burning body, which made him more and more familiar with the holy arts. In West Star City, after a series of questioning, Wanming finally brought his men and arrived at the Lei clan's station with an ashen face. When Lei Dun, the person in charge of the station, heard that the princess of Deyong County had come personally, he hurriedly came out and respectfully brought the former to the living room. One of my men dug out a storage ring ore in a ruin. Lord Lei should have heard of it. Suppressing the anxiety in his heart, Wanming greeted Lei Dun with a smile. Although he wasn't afraid of Lei Dun with his monarch emperor strength, even he was afraid of the power behind the latter. I've heard a little about it. When I first heard about it, I was envious of Master Wan for a few days. After all, those ores are worth a lot of monarch crystals. Lei Dun said with a smile. At the same time, his mind was spinning quickly, thinking about why this guy came to West Star City. Could it be that the thing has been robbed? Lei Dun looked over. Sure enough, Wanming's smile instantly turned cold. But my subordinate and I have searched the road several times, but we still couldn't find any trace of them. I think they must have been robbed. The West Star City Lord, Wu Zishan, has been away for a few days. I'm afraid that this matter has something to do with him. Oh, if that's the case, then why didn't you look for Wu Zishan? Why did you come to my humble abode? Lei Dun was also a little confused. How could Wu Zishan go and rob those ores? Could it be that he was a fool? Although those ores might be worth a lot, they could only be worth a few 100,000 at most. It was not worth offending Wanming for these few Wanmings. I heard that when Suo Quan and the others passed by the transportation array, the guest chamberlains under Sir used the shadow pearl to record the appearance of those guards. Can you lend it to me to take a look? Lei Dun frowned slightly and looked at Wanming, whose face was ashen. He hesitated for a moment and nodded. With a flip of his palm, 2 shadow pearls appeared in his hand. After taking the shadow pearls, Wanming also took out one. He couldn't wait to look at it. He finished looking at the 20 people in the shadow pearls one by one. Wanming let out a breath and said goodbye to Lei Dun before leaving in a hurry. Lei Dun looked at the 4 people's disappearing figures and didn't say anything for a long time. A light flashed. After getting used to the light in front of him, he finally got used to it. Xiaoyan raised his head and looked at the blue sky. He took a deep breath. He had arrived at the Falling Star Palace. Chapter end. Hi guys, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.